Right? Go ahead. Noise guidelines for Europe. And the beginning of this document, and I'll be glad to share it with the Commission members.
We have it already.
Oh, you have it. States that this is an extension of the 1999 WHO guidelines, which are more comprehensive. But this looks at what is called an annual average outdoor sound level at night for residential areas. And I emphasize annual average, and the recommendation is 40 decibels annual average outside sound level. And it's for member countries of the European Union. It doesn't refer to the United States. But that issue aside, the difference between this and the larger WHO document that I have been quoting tonight, 45 decibels, is that the standard WHO guidelines refer to the sound level on any given night, a particular worst case night, and one sleeping period, a 45 decibel average limit for that one sleeping night. Whereas these guidelines refer to the annual average sound level outside of a house.
So you'd have no trouble reaching that.
You would have no trouble complying with 40 as a limit if you were already limiting the worst case to 45.
So if we put that language in our ordinance, you won't be offended.
No, not as long as you quote it accurately as the annual average limit, because over the course of a year, there might be 30% of the time, or even more, that the wind turbines wouldn't even be turning. So
I'd like just add, each year you comment, I think it comes back to the enforceability and the measurement part, because measuring an annual average and then subtracting out the ambient, I mean, that requires, I don't know what kind of testing program you're going to have for compliance, but this could then, Peter, I'll ask you to comment on that, but it would be a concern for me.
Probably cheaper just to use big setbacks, correct?
It's probably cheaper to use this when you know that.
I know I can measure a half mile with a wheel in about 5 minutes. Well, maybe not. That's a pretty fast half mile.
Well, Mr. Martis, in the letter that has been given to each commission member, I actually give an example. I go through a calculation example of why if you use the 40 decibel limit, it wouldn't be as restrictive as the 45 limit for any given night.
I'll look at that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the story between them. They are defined slightly differently, and the WHO 45 decibel limit is the more stringent limit. It's their recommendation.
We finished thrashing this poor fellow? Doesn't make you all want to get on the planning commission?
Would you be available? I mean, if people in the audience would have questions later on to ask you, or are you going to out the door?
I'm here for the evening. At the commission's pleasure, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Keep it. Yes. For after the meeting, we'll want to give you that.
Thank you, Bill.
Reg, I'd make one comment. I mean, I think we'd be remiss as a township to only hear expert witness opinion from just the developer's agent. I would recommend that we ask the township board about retaining an acoustic engineer of our own. I think the engineer that Gary Castle's friend, Dr. Gary Lovett, is using in Reading Township next to Hillsdale would be a great resource. Dr. Lovett spoke very highly of him. He's helped me craft their ordinance. I think we need an independent, neutral voice to refer to on these matters.
He'd come down and speak to us and give us an idea of how they went and felt theirs if you want that to come.
Dr. Lovett.
Dr. Lovett.
But he's using a fellow out of Okemos that I think would be of great value to us here. I just think we put ourselves at risk if we adopt ordinance language only based on the recommendation of the developer's expert. I mean, if somebody wants to challenge that, they're going to say in court, you mean you only heard from the one guy? I mean, what do you expect the developer's acoustic engineer to say? That you can't build them here? Of course not. I just think to protect everybody's interest in the township, we ought to make sure we've used objective sources.
I think that point's well taken. A little further into the agenda tonight, I'd like to touch on a portion of that under new business going forward from here. I thank John Deere for the presentation because it was, and I don't know if the rest of you sitting out in the audience probably were a little glazed over by so much information all at once. It'd be like, I think, equating trying to drink out of a fire hose because it came fast and furious. And myself personally, I like to take and read his comments when it's quiet and the decibel level is considerably less than what this meeting might be, and hopefully understand and chew on some of the information that we've heard here tonight, possibilities of noise levels with different DBAs. And we're pushing the 9 o'clock hour here. Like I said, this presentation was education, if nothing else, on noise. The areas I like to point out in the draft ordinance we have here would, that I see, and I'm asking the commission here, would be on page 5, there's some blanks. Page 9 was one of the areas that was referred to as needing attention, and then page 14, which was item F, I believe.